Every system tells you it's built to serve you. Every politician promises stability. Every banker swears they're keeping you safe. But history tells a different story. The truth is simple. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as intended. This is the hidden architecture of money. And I'm Asya Semanova. Welcome to Finance 3.0, your daily dive into the seismic shifts reshaping our global financial landscape. Today's topic is going to feel less like economics and more like a crime drama because, in a way, that's what it is. The title says it all. The system isn't designed with you in mind. If that feels cynical, good. It should. Because throughout history, the people in power, the bankers, the monarchs, the industrialists, the technocrats, understood one timeless truth. Control the money and you control everything. Laws, governments, even wars, they all bend to the will of whoever holds the purse strings. And here's the twist. They don't even hide it. They tell you what they're doing. They just dress it up in the language of prosperity, innovation, or stability, and the public buys it every single time. Today, we're pulling back the curtain. From Rothschild's chilling declaration, to Henry Ford's blunt warning, to Nixon's so-called temporary measure that changed everything in 1971. We'll walk through the moments when money was reshaped, not for you, but for them. Let's start with the quote that still haunts textbooks. Mayer Amschel Rothschild, the patriarch of the famous banking family, is credited with saying, "Permit me to issue and control the money of a nation, and I care not who makes its laws." That one sentence sums up the last 300 years of history better than most college courses. Politicians argue, parliaments pass bills, but if you control the medium of exchange, the very definition of what wealth is, you don't need to win debates. You just pull strings behind the curtain. Think about that. The architect of the assembly line basically admitted the system was rigged, but also banked on your ignorance to keep the wheels spinning. Ford knew that if the average person grasped how their money was created, manipulated, and devalued, they'd burn the whole thing down before breakfast. So we begin with two pillars of truth. Money equals power, and ignorance equals stability. That's the foundation on which everything else rests. The Federal Reserve and the birth of modern control. Fast forward to 1913, and you get one of the most pivotal moments in U.S. history, the creation of the Federal Reserve. The pitch? The Fed was created to stabilize the financial system, to smooth out panics, and to ensure prosperity for all. That's the glossy brochure. The reality? It centralized control of the money supply in the hands of a private banking cartel with government blessing. The fox didn't just guard the hen house, it designed it. Within 20 years, America plunged into the Great Depression, and the Fed did little to stop it. Franklin D. Roosevelt had to declare a banking holiday and seize the gold of private citizens to keep the system alive. Executive Order 6102 forced Americans to turn in their gold at $20.67 an ounce, only for the government to reprice it to $35 after confiscation. Overnight, wealth was stolen in broad daylight. Remember the sales pitch? Stability. The result? The greatest transfer of wealth in modern history. The system wasn't broken, it was working as intended. Bretton Woods and the American century. After World War II, the U.S. emerged as the only major power with its infrastructure intact. And so, in 1944, the world gathered in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, to rewrite the rules of money. The pitch? Cooperation, stability, a fair system for all nations. The reality? The U.S. dollar was crowned king. Every other currency was pegged to the dollar, and the dollar itself was pegged to gold at $35 an ounce. On paper, it looked balanced. In practice, it gave America enormous power. If you wanted to trade internationally, you needed dollars. That meant Washington could exert influence far beyond its borders, not with soldiers, but with spreadsheets. The American century wasn't built only on tanks and factories. It was built on dollar supremacy. And again, the system wasn't designed with you in mind. It was designed to funnel global trade and power through Washington's hands. Then came August 15th, 1971, arguably the most important day in modern financial history. President Richard Nixon went on live television to announce that the U.S. was temporarily suspending the convertibility of dollars into gold.
Accordingly, I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
The pitch? It was to protect the dollar against speculators, a patriotic move to defend America's currency. The reality? It was the final severing of money from any tangible anchor. From that moment forward, the US dollar and every currency tied to it was just paper and promises. Money became debt, and debt became money. Inflation took off like a rocket. Wages stagnated while asset prices soared. The wealth gap widened into a canyon. And 50 years later, that temporary measure has become permanent policy. Temporary in politics means forever, until they need another excuse. The modern era, bailouts, QE, and beyond. Jump ahead to 2008. The global financial system teeters on collapse. Banks that made reckless bets are suddenly too big to fail. The pitch? Bailouts were necessary to save Main Street. The government had to act to protect ordinary families. The reality? Wall Street got rescued, bonuses kept flowing, ordinary people got foreclosures, job losses, and austerity. Main Street didn't get saved, it got strip-mined. Then came quantitative easing. QE central banks printed trillions out of thin air to buy assets. The pitch? Stimulus, growth, recovery. The reality? Stock markets soared, luxury real estate skyrocketed, and the billionaire class expanded like never before. Meanwhile, median wages barely budged. Money flowed uphill, as it always does. And here's the kicker. Every time they print trillions, they tell you it's for your benefit, to fight unemployment, to keep the system stable. But if the benefits were real, why is the middle class shrinking and the debt ballooning? Because the system isn't designed with you in mind. Global South and the debt trap. This isn't just a Western story. For decades, the International Monetary Fund and World Bank have swooped into developing nations offering loans with strings attached. The pitch? Development, infrastructure, a path to prosperity. The reality? Structural adjustment programs that force countries to cut social spending, privatize industries, and open their markets to foreign corporations. Entire nations turned into debt serfs. The wealth extracted by creditors in New York and London dwarfs any aid those nations ever received. Again, the rhetoric is about lifting people up. The reality is chains of debt. The next frontier, digital control. Now we stand at the edge of the next great shift. Central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. The pitch? Financial inclusion, efficiency, security. The reality? Programmable money. Every transaction tracked, analyzed, and, if necessary, denied. Imagine money that expires if you don't spend it fast enough, or that can't be used to buy certain items the state disapproves of. For the first time in history, governments won't just control money's supply, they'll control its very behavior. That's not inclusion, that's control in its purest form. The system isn't broken. So what do we learn from all this? The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. From Rothschild to Ford, from the Fed to Nixon, from bailouts to CBDCs, the through line is clear. Money has always been engineered to serve those at the top. And every time they change the rules, they promise it's for your benefit. But history shows the benefits flow upward and the costs trickle down. And every time they change the rules, they promise it's for your benefit. But history shows the benefits flow upward and the costs trickle down. The tragedy is that they don't even hide it. They disclose their goals. They exaggerate the benefits. And most people, distracted and exhausted, accept the sales pitch. But once you understand the pattern, you can no longer unsee it. You realize that to play this game, you need to think outside their rules. Whether that means Bitcoin, gold, real assets, or simply education, the point is this. Don't confuse their system with your freedom, because the system was never designed with you in mind. This has been Finance 3.0. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and don't let the sales pitch fool you. The more you understand about money, the harder it is for them to write your story for you. I'm Asya Semanova. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time. From ancient empires to digital currencies, the story is the same. Money has always been about power, and when the rules change, they don't change for you. The system isn't designed with you in mind. It never was. And until you understand that, you'll always be playing their game. This has been the hidden architecture of money from Finance 3.0. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and never stop asking who really benefits.